Welcome to The Princess Who Preaches, where we embrace the will of the King and discover our true royal identity in Christ. I'm Ariel, and I'm so glad you're here. Together, we'll explore stories, teachings, and conversations that inspire you to live with purpose and faith. I'm excited for today's journey. Let's dive in. So, at this point in my life, I have moved into my own apartment, and I had no idea how to live on my own. I wasn't taught that. So a lot of things that I learned, and one of the reasons why I wanted to share this podcast is to help anybody who is going through this, who feels like they have failed in their lives because they learned a lot of things late in life. There is nothing wrong with where you are. There really isn't. The point is that you got it. The point is that you learned it. The point is that you have the wisdom. And that is what matters. So I didn't know how to sustain myself. I didn't know how to maintain bills, how the scope of rent goes. And Texas is a little bit different in how I'm going to say in terms of like rent and utilities. In Tennessee, all of that is allotted. All of that is together. But here in Texas, nah, baby, they split that thing up. So it's very different. So I didn't know that there is a base rent. And between the base rent, your rent, your monthly rent will fluctuate based off of how much you use, how much water you use, how much utilities you use. And then you have a separate utility company that handles your utilities in your home. So that was a big, oh my goodness, for me. I still had a job. I was able to maintain a job, but I was not a good steward with how I was taking care of myself. And if I can be completely honest, being a financial steward has always been a struggle for me. And not just me, but eventually I learned that this has been a hindrance in my bloodline, that one of the side effects or symptoms of being in the occult, being in fraternities and sororities, is the spirit of poverty can wreak havoc in your household. And no matter how much you try to get free from it, if that is not broken, if that legal right is not broken, then the spirit of poverty can infiltrate in different areas of your life. And poverty, the spirit of poverty is not just, I don't have money. That's something that I thought too. That it was just, oh, you don't have money. But no, the spirit of poverty is literally assigned. You know how scripture says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The enemy of, or the agent of poverty, that's literally its assignment, is to steal. So it could be stealing your mindset, your mental health. It could be stealing your finances. It could be stealing your peace of mind. It could be stealing your health, because gluttony is also tied to poverty. All of these things are tied to the enemy's goal, the enemy's blueprint to literally steal, kill, and destroy. And one of the things that the Holy Spirit explained to me when I was going through my bloodline and learning what it meant to break strongholds and to break legal right that the enemy had in my bloodline, one of the things that the Holy Spirit shared with me was that my great grandfather, of course, like I've talked about this before, he was in the occult, but my great grandfather wanted money, he wanted fame, he wanted the accolades, and he definitely got it during his lifetime while he was living. But in exchange for that, that hunger, that power that he wanted, that he sacrificed generations. I don't know if he knew that. That's still a question that I am waiting on the Holy Spirit to answer. But he definitely sacrificed generations in our family for money, for power, for acclaim. He wanted all of those things, and it came at a cost. So, everybody, I don't care what family you are a part of, if you are a believer, that's great. But all of us have doors that have been opened by family members, by ancestors that we don't know of. And so it is our responsibility, or becomes our responsibility, to get before the Lord, to talk with the Lord about what those legal rights are that the enemy has been given and how to break them. If you ask him how to break them, he will show you how to break them. And because there was a lot of occultic practices in my family, in my bloodline, on both sides, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. The warfare has been difficult. It has been tough. It has been tiring. And sometimes it felt like I was by myself in this fight. That, okay, Lord, I can't be the only one that has the sword of the Spirit, and I'm trying to wield, and I'm wielding the sword of the Spirit against the enemy, but I can't be by myself in this. Like, there's other family members that gotta know. And the truth of the matter is, that is true, that you have other family members, you have other relatives that know, but they do not want to join in the fight. And that's a real thing. But I guarantee you that the Lord always makes a way when you are obedient to him, when you give him an honest yes. He always makes sure that you have not only everything that you need, but he provides protection and provision for you and for your household. So I didn't know how to maintain, and eventually I ended up looking for another apartment because I wasn't able to sustain the bills that I had in this place. And a friend of mine at the time lived in Irving, and it was a beautiful area. It was so quiet, it was so peaceful. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know what, God, it would be amazing if I could live in this area. Like, I literally just had the thought, if I could live in this area, that would be so great. And then I started looking around in the area. So my friend didn't live far. And so I cased around the apartments that was in her area. She was actually telling me, like, they have apartments that's in my complex. You should look. And of course, the friend at the time that was living with me, at this point, we are now really good friends. I'm going to call her Abby. So Abby and I are looking for apartments in her complex, in our other mutual friends complex. And as we're looking, it was like everything was being shut down. And I really was impatient. I wanted to find another place ASAP, pronto. Like, I was ready to go yesterday. So I'm looking, and it was like every place that I was going, like it didn't meet my budget. And I was starting to get, overwhelmed. I was getting discouraged. So then we go to this apartment, and I kind of was like, all right, you know what? It is what it is. I was kind of ready to give up. And so Abby was like, well, no, let's look at this place. So we go, and I'm speaking with one of the leasing managers, and we started to have a really good conversation, and she was a believer, and she started sharing about her life. And I found out she shared with us that she had cancer, and of course that was a a very sensitive spot for me because my sister Sheena had cancer, and the Lord started to prophesy through me to this leasing manager. We prayed on the lot, and it was a beautiful experience. Like the way that God showed up, I was not looking for anything, but the way that God showed up because I was obedient was amazing. So anytime the Lord leads you to be obedient, even if it makes you uncomfortable, please do it, because you do not know the favor and provision that is attached to that obedience. Because I prayed for this lady, because I prophesied to this lady, and the prophecy was accurate. The prophecy was that the Lord was going to heal her. There were some other things that he disclosed, but that was the biggest thing, that the Lord was going to heal her, that the cancer sentence was not going to be final for her. And not only did the Lord answer that prophecy, she was in remission, the cancer was completely gone. But because of my obedience, because of my yes, she approved my application to get into that apartment. Y'all, when I tell you that fueled my faith, like it increased my faith, I was so surprised. I was in awe. I was shocked by what the Lord had done. Like, you just did that. So the application was approved, and she takes us around to see the apartment that I was going to move into. It was a gorgeous place, and it was actually right across the street from a country club, a golf country club. And it was in an area where literally you could leave your doors unlocked. Now, I don't recommend this, but you could leave your doors unlocked, okay? And nobody would come in and disturb you. So I get moved in. Abby gets her stuff. We move in. We get situated. And mind you, I am still footing most of the bills in this place. So Abby is trying to find a job. She's trying to find employment, but I'm still footing pretty much everything at this point. So I get situated. I tell one of my aunts, like, I didn't have money for furniture or anything like that. So one of my aunts was like, hey, I just went to an estate sale. One of my supervisors or a boss, somebody that she worked with, had an estate sale. They were selling stuff. And she was like, well, if you want, I could talk to her and see, if she wants to, give anything to you. I said, please do. All of my furniture was free. I literally did not have to pay for any other furniture. The way that the Lord provided for me, I got free furniture. I got free kitchenware, like pots and pans, like all of the things that I needed for this new place, God provided. And the stuff that he gave me wasn't shabby either. Like, it was nice stuff. I got a free bed. Like, I got free furniture. Pretty much the only thing that I had to bring in was like my clothes and stuff, because I didn't have any furniture in my old place. So again, that was an increase of my faith. So seeing the Lord do exactly what he did, like how he pieced everything together, how he brought different people in my life in that season, I truly was grateful. But it really increased my faith, and it showed me that, okay, God, you don't just provide for people that I pray for. You provide for me too. Because I believe for a long time that I had the power to pray for other people, but when it came to me and like what I needed, like I didn't believe that God would provide for me. And that was an insecurity. That was something that I struggled with, and that was a lie that the enemy planted a long time ago. And I took the bait. I believed it. So for me, seeing like, Lord, you truly do love me. You got me in this place. It's a safe place. It's a beautiful area, and you kept me not just with like the furniture and everything. At this point, I was working in a job that I actually enjoyed, but I didn't have transportation. So, side note, I don't drive. I do not drive. driving driving has produced anxiety in a way that I do not want to drive. So it's not that I can't, I don't. So I had I didn't have transportation at the time. So I was like, okay, so now God, like how am I gonna get back and forth to work? Because I lived in Irving, but I was working in Carrollton. So I needed to be able to get back and forth to work. And again, I lived a very sheltered life to a certain extent. So I didn't know how to catch the bus. I didn't know how to do things that would probably be normal for other people, but a lot of things I didn't have to learn. And I had to learn how to catch the bus. Like I said, the chef at the school at the college I was going to was able to teach me and show me how to catch the bus. So I had to learn how to catch the bus in this new area. And I did. And I actually enjoyed that. During that season, there were, even though there were different people that was riding the bus, like the sunsets, the encounters, like the Lord really, like he really developed me during that season. A lot of things that I was afraid of, I was terrified to do. What I now know is social anxiety. I had a lot of that back then. And I was terrified of catching the bus or riding in like a car service with somebody, talking to people on the sidewalk. Like I would say hello and stuff like that, but like I was scared of really being on my own. During the times that Abby would be able to pick me up, like she would, but other than that, like it was like, okay, you got to learn how to do this on your own. So eventually, days go by, months kind of pass, and I'm getting acclimated to the area. I have a friend that's close by, so like I'm really enjoying this area. Now, mind you, me and the Bible study teacher are still connected. Excuse me. Now, like I said, we will be on again, off again. But because of the last event that happened between us, if you want to go back and watch that previous episode, I was physically assaulted and violated by this person. And after that, we stopped talking. I hadn't spoken to him since. We did not talk about like what happened. There was no apology, none of that. So I'm still trying to like live my life, and in the back of my head I'm stuffing down the traumatic events that happened to me. I'm not dealing with them. I don't know how to deal with them. So I get a call or a text. Either way, we started communicating again, and I am so excited because I'm like, God, you just did this amazing thing, and I want to share the amazing thing that you just did. I didn't care who it was. I just wanted to share how good God was and what he did because I couldn't believe it. I'm communicating with him, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I want to see your place. Great. So eventually he comes to my apartment, and he was already a little irritated because it was far from where he lived. He gets there, and I'm so excited. Like, I'm showing him, giving him a tour of the place, and I'm like, well, this is my kitchen, this is my patio, this is my living room, all the things. And he's looking around, and he's like, so what man did you have to sleep with to get this apartment? What? I said, I didn't have to sleep with anybody to get this apartment. God did this for me. Like, where is that coming from? He was very irritated and threatened by the fact that I could get something without him. Now, mind you, it wasn't like while we were together during the time that I've known him, he gave a lot. it was like after a certain period of time, like after that, the what do you call it? Like the I'm infatuated with you phase is now over. It was like he stopped doing, like he pretty much was doing like the bare minimum. So he figured out the things that I liked. He figured out the the ways that if he said certain things or how he said certain things, he knew that it would get my attention, and he knew that he could hold my attention because my self-esteem was low. So I didn't require a lot. I required literally less than the bare minimum. So he knew that. So he didn't have to do much. But as I got older and I started to really grow in God, and I became convicted by the things that I was doing, the things that I was allowing and what I was accepting, I couldn't continue to live the way that I was living. But I didn't know how to get free of that. So I felt trapped. Like I don't know how to get out of this. This has been a 7-year cycle and I don't know how to get out of it at this point. Now, we're still having a conversation. He brings me a housewarming gift, which was a which was a trash can, cuz I didn't have a trash can. So he bought a trash can. So after the tour, he had a stack of DVDs. And so again, one of our things was that we would listen to music and we would watch movies. So he brought a stack of DVDs, and his intention was not to come over to like enjoy, like look at my new plays and like just spend quality time with me. No, he wanted to get down. He wanted to get down with the get down. And we're sitting on the bed and we're watching a movie, and I know that that's what he wants. And he brought like stuffed animals for me as well. And so like I'm holding the stuffed animals and by the pillow, and I felt so awkward. I felt so uncomfortable. Even though he wanted to initiate things, I couldn't do it. I could not do it, and which I thank God, because to this day that was a saving grace. I did not have the words or the strength to say like we need to we need to stop all communication. Like this needs to be done. I didn't have the words or the strength to be able to do that. And so God did it for me. So after a certain period, he got frustrated and he realized like, okay, so we're not gonna have sex. We're not gonna be intimate. We're not doing anything. And so he got frustrated. He got up, put his shoes on, and he left. And I just was kind of like, okay, baffled. Like that's the way that you decided to leave. Like the movie was still on, and we were watching the movie. The movie was good. So I was so confused. So when he left, I locked the door and I stayed up all night. Now that moment was a significant turning point for me. I will never forget it because it was a Friday. I stayed up all night. I could not sleep. I remember crying to the Lord. I was weeping because I knew that that was the final straw. I felt it in my soul. That was the last moment that him and I would ever have together. And as I'm crying and I'm talking to the Lord and I'm sharing with him all the things that I was feeling, it felt like an urgency. It felt like a, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And as I'm pouring my heart out to the Lord, I see this vision. The Lord gives me a vision of this cord, and it was a silver cord. I will never forget this moment. It was a silver cord, and I see these big scissors, and I see the cord being cut with the scissors. And the Lord tells me that he cut the cord himself because since I could not cut the cord, he cut it for me. Now, today I'm grateful. And at that moment, I was grateful too, but I didn't fully understand. I didn't fully understand just yet. There was a sigh of relief a little bit, but I was still traumatized by what just happened, that I couldn't process what did you just do, Lord? So as I'm still up all night. I think I ended up going to bed at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep, I take a nap, and when I wake up, my friend that lives up the street was like, "Hey, do you wanna come over?" And I walk to her apartment because she didn't live far, so I could walk. So I walk to her apartment, and I'm telling her and Abby what just happened. And I am grateful for this. She gave me room. She gave me her living room. They were watching a movie or something in her room, and she was like, "Take the living room, do what you need to do." So I go in the living room and I start praying. And I had another encounter with the Lord that changed my life. You talking about laying stuff down, laying things down at his feet. That was a come to Jesus moment. I encountered the presence of the Lord in a way that wrecked me forever. So as I'm having this moment with the Lord, it literally was a 3 hour encounter. The presence of the Lord was so thick, it was so strong, it was so powerful, and it was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed. So after I have this moment, I get a phone call and I'm talking to my sister Sheena on the phone. And as we're talking, I'm telling her what happened. And she gets quiet, which is one of the things that she would do right before she's about to ask a very important question. She would get quiet. And I'm like, okay, what are you about to tell me? And she asked me, she says, well, what is the insecurity, or what is it that you believe that God cannot do for you because of this moment? What was the reason why you felt like you had to stay and take 7 years worth of stuff that you didn't have to take? And I said, well, honestly, it was because I believed that nobody else would want me, that I couldn't I couldn't have a healthy, stable relationship with anybody else. I literally said no other man would want me. So I was used to this, so I'll just continue to suffer through this because this is what I know. And at least to a certain extent, like he wants me a little bit. And that was the truth. But I'd never said that out loud before. So it was good to hear me say that out loud. And we're still having a conversation, talking to everything. And so she asked me, like, okay, well, like, what is it that you want? Excuse me. And I start to share like what I wanted. And then we end our conversation. 3 days later, 3 days later, I met my husband. We go to, nope, I just, I know. Okay, so let me go back. So 3 days later, I met my husband. The day that I met my husband, I am heartbroken by what just happened. Like, this was the end. I know this was the end. The Lord confirmed it, and he made it so like this is the end. You're not going to continue to go through this anymore with this person. So I go to my closet and I'm trying to find something to wear for work. The Lord picks my outfit out. He tells me what to put on. And at the time, this was the time when like peplum was like all the rage. And I love peplum. So I had this navy blue peplum dress. He told me to put that dress on. And I had some loafers. Put the loafers on. And I'm like, God, I don't want to dress up. I don't feel like being cute. I feel the opposite. So I put the clothes on and I go to work. And after I come back, I'm on my way. On my way home. He says, "Do you want Chipotle?" Because Chipotle was our favorite, one of our favorite places to go eat. Yes. Okay, I guess I could eat. So she was like, "All right, let me go and pick up our mutual friend that lived down the street." She goes, picks her up from work. We go to Potbelly. As we go to Potbelly, nobody is really there. It's starting to get dark. It's nighttime, and we're sitting in the far back of the establishment, waiting on our food. We get our food, and we're just talking about something. In walks this dude who worked at this particular place. Now, I had seen him coming in and out a couple times, and when I first saw him, like, he had long locks. And fun fact about me, I love locks. I think they are absolutely beautiful. Case in point. I'd seen him a couple times, and the first time that I saw him, he literally took my breath away. I thought that he was absolutely beautiful. I thought he was a beautiful man. And I was like, oh my God, he's so fine. He probably wouldn't go for somebody like me. That is literally what I said. And I just kind of shoot it away like, okay, well, it'll just be nice to see him when we come in. This night, I go to the little drink fountain, and I'm about to get something to drink. And he comes in at the exact same time. And he was bringing a trash in from the trash can. I'm looking, and I look down, and all of a sudden I see my feet moving. I was not going to talk to him. I was not going to speak to him. I wasn't going to do jack squat. But somehow my feet get to moving, and I walk up to him and I say, "Hey, I like your dreads." And he was like, "Oh, thank you." And he was about to walk off, and I said, "No, I really like your dreads." And it was like, in that moment, something clicked. And he was like, "Oh, so I'm finna get off work in a little bit. So when I get off in about like 5 or 10 minutes, I can show you what they look like." And I was like, "Okay, I love that." I go back to my table, and the girls is like, "Oh my God," we're fanning out. And I'm like, "God, what is happening? What are you doing? Did I just do that? I just talked to a whole man." No. So eventually he comes out, and he's standing at the table, and he was like, "Nice to meet you. My name is Bryant. Can I sit down?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can sit down." And we started up a conversation. We talked like we knew each other all of our lives. The conversation was so natural. It scared me a little bit. I enjoyed his company. And so after that, he was like, "Can I have your number?" And I said, "Well, yes, of course." And so he gets a piece of paper, a brown paper bag, and he writes my number on the paper. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, he's so romantic, he's so old. So he gets up and he leaves, and me and the ladies were talking about what just happened. So I'm going to cut it off at this point. So we're going to talk about the hand of the Lord in the next episode. Thank you for joining me today on The Princess Who Preaches. I hope you feel inspired to proclaim, advocate, and teach His will honestly in your life. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share with a friend, and connect with us on all social media handles labeled The Princess Who Preaches. Take care and walk in your royal purpose, and see you next time.